Okay, so I have a 6x6 panel, artist panel, like we used kind of in the beginning, except for this is only 6x6 and it doesn't have any gesso on it. You could get this at Dick Blick or Hobby Lobby. It doesn't matter whether it has gesso on it, it's just that this one doesn't happen to, and it doesn't have to be a 6x6. So this is just what I had in my closet, and this is what I pulled out. The next 3 videos are going to have the same size. The 3 videos will look, those 3 paintings will look really good together if you want them as a set. So just keep that in mind, whatever you decide to do. So I have my gel medium again that we used in the last painting. I'm going to go ahead and put a layer on. And I have a piece of bristle board, and I've cut it to 6x6. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do on this paper is we're going to get out our handy dandy ruler, and you're just going to put it exactly on the edge here and draw a line. And you're going to do that with each of the sides. You might have to turn your board. Just like that. So then I'm going to go in just over from that and make another line on each one of those lines that I just made. So it's, you know, maybe 1/8 of an inch. So basically I'm widening each of those edges, if that makes sense, so that when I go in with my pin, it'll be a wider edge, like 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so if you can see here what I did, and then I also just put a little line around the outside edge. Okay, so if you can see, I just did 4 more lines just right next to the first lines that we did. So now what I'm going to do, I have this Pigma archival ink pen, but you can use a Sharpie, you can use whatever you have on hand. This is just what I had on hand. It's a black marker and it's permanent. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to fill in all those lines now, just color in basically the lines that we just made. Okay, so now that you have it all filled in, I know some of you, I actually know some of you personally, and I know that probably if you were filling it in before watching this part of the video, you were freaking out because the lines are going out of the lines and you wanted to keep it perfect. And that's not how this is. In fact, as you're probably starting to figure out, that's not how any of my art is. Really, do not get upset if it's not perfect. Mine are definitely not perfect. If you look at my lines, they are outside jagged. These are like vines. They're not like perfectly straight lines, so no worries. Also, the next 4 lessons, or the next 2 lessons after this, will be have this same format. So I'll probably repeat this lesson, this part of the lesson over the next 2 lessons, if that makes sense. Okay, so now we're gonna go in to all of the corners here and we're gonna just fill them in so that they're rounded. Can you see that? Okay, so I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna play the music while I do it.
Man in the moon has got his eyes on
one of the reasons why it's okay for it not to be colored perfectly in the lines and perfectly straight is because this is going to be taking after a painting or a stained glass window during kind of the Art Nouveau period. And one of the things that was important to those artists is doing things that were similar to nature. And so this is supposed to be more like it's similar to nature. So the reasons why we got rid of the corners is because we're just going to have soft edges here. We're not going to have sharp edges. We're trying to just soften everything out and make those corners, you know, knock off those corners. I guess that's kind of like our lives, right? We're living our lives and all those sharp corners start to get knocked off of us. I feel that way right now. So on this side, I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to go like this. Okay, this is like if you were going to put hills on the side. Okay, so can you see it? It's that easy, and it doesn't have to be 2 bumps. It can be 3 or 4 because these are going to be leaves. Okay, so I'm going to do the same here. And these are without corners, right? These are soft edges. That's why we're doing hills. Okay, so that's just on those 2 sides. So then at the top where this line starts, I'm going to do a bump. Can you see that? And a bump. Okay, so that's my first leaf. Then right here, a bump and a bump. That's my second leaf. All right, got it? I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I have my hills, and then I'm going to do my leaf over that, and that just keeps them kind of flowing. So that's why we did the bumps in the beginning. It just keeps them like they're moving pretty consistent. Okay, so do you have that? I'm going to go over them again with a pen so that you can really see what I just did there. Through, and I'm just going to look for all the hard edges again, all the hard corners. So if there's a hard corner between these 2 things, I'm getting rid of it. So if you think about it like if you soldered something, the lines would be kind of bumpy and it would be impossible to get hard corners. That's how it is. So it almost is like a stained glass window. So I'm just getting rid of anything that's a hard corner here.
The road the tune might feel wrong. Oh, remember there's a song that's made for you. But it's not the kind of song that's sung by every passing tongue that comes your way. They'll find you on an evening drive, keep you company through the night until the light of day. The man in the moon has got his eye on you. There are days when it feels like it's just us two. They say you've got my chin, you've got your mother's grin. There's a light that's deep within, it's clearly you. It's clearly you.
Okay, so in these little corners, I think I'm just going to make these easy little flowers. So I'm just going to put a round circle in each corner, like this, in the center. And then I'm just going to do petals out from there. They're kind of squared petals, and I'm just going to do 4. Got it? And you want them to reach out all the way to the edge, because I guess kind of the feel of this is a stained glass window, so you want it to reach out to all of the edges, because in a stained glass window you wouldn't have something that just stopped in the center. It continues on all the way to the edges. Otherwise your piece of glass would fall out. When I was a child, I was very inspired by Art Nouveau, so it shows up in a lot of my work. We had a big poster that was of Muka, which is one of my very favorite artists. And then also my parents had a lot of stained glass and were really into Tiffany, and they did their own stained glass. So it's just amazing how what you grow up with is what shows up in your art. So I'm going to do the same with the flowers. I'm just going to get rid of those hard edges. Any corners are going away.